everybody doing? It's a little early for me today. The last couple days, and I'm not complaining. Please don't take it that way. I wasn't asking for help or anything. But last couple days, for the last week or two, she'll come and bug me about going to bed. And there were days where I just didn't feel like it, And then last night and the night before, when she came in and started bugging me, because the thing is, when I go to bed, um, she can usually get a treat out of me. Yeah, you're okay. Yeah, you're a good kitty. Yeah, you can leave if you like, but you don't have to. And what happened was, see, the weird thing is, if I go like this, she'll usually leave, which to me this seems like it should be more comfortable for her. But if I go here, so because she wants to touch me, if she's gonna sit here, she can't just sit on my leg. She wants to hold hands or something. And the last couple nights, I was tired, and I'm like, yeah, I'll go to bed. So yesterday and today, I woke up a little earlier and than normal, and but yeah, she good girl. Yeah, she good girl. And I'm watching YouTube, and I'm just gonna. And no offense, and I'm not trying to. I just don't feel like watching the news.
After the Dalgar Oasis was discovered 3 centuries ago. Though Chaldeum had been prosperous for many years, a reliable source of water allowed
I'm gonna wrap this into my my call for action, at least one of them.
Fountains were built to provide
last night,
water for everyone.
It was Joy Reid, and I'm not trying to bash her or anything, but Joy Reid's show was on last night, and I can't think of the guy's name, but if I got him right, he's one of the senators from Connecticut. He's out by Maine, where that big massive shooting was. And he made an announcement on her show that they really, he was doing his call to action, and he's an elected official, so they should probably do more of this shit. But he was saying that they wanted to basically take guns away from veterans who might be suicidal. Now, I gotta be honest with you. If they've got reasonable evidence, and maybe they'll be wrong, I don't think it has to be absolute evidence. I think reasonable evidence that that a person might be a danger to themselves or others. Yeah, unless they're pissed off, like if you got a family member that's a fucking worthless, thieving piece of shit, like Trump, or somebody acting like fucking Trump. Then maybe they could give them a pass for being upset. Like if you got somebody that, when a parent or a loved one or a family member was dying, got the will changed like 20 days before they died, and then didn't want to live up to that when it was over. Like, let's say it said right out, in that you can't sell the property because it's in a trust. And then you explain that to them, and they go, well, I'm not doing that. Well, then you shouldn't be the fucking trustee. Any of you thieving fuckers that don't want to follow the trust, you should either be in jail or you should be forced to turn over the trust to those that do want to follow it. Or in this case, it would have to be one of the other family members that's in it, because there's a section in there, they can't pass this off to someone else. It has to go to one of the siblings. Well, it really looks like 2 of the siblings are thieving fucking shitbags, so it would have to go to one of the other siblings, that's actually in the trust. They can't give it to a buddy. They can't give it to another family member. But in a case like that, you could maybe, because it's like you could just say, look, you guys could just start following the law. You guys could just be better people. We don't need to fucking. He's absolutely right to be outraged. But he basically said that, and I totally agree. If you've got somebody that's a threat to others, You know, like if you've got a military guy who's an arms instructor, a weapons instructor, if you got him basically making comments, you know, about attacking people at the base or some shit like that, which he did something, and I don't remember the specifics on it. But he was making comments about the base, and what happened was
No, I will not do that.
his military people sent him in for a 2-week mental health evaluation. And they were, and this just, I didn't hear this on the news until this is what kind of, I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna watch the news for a while today. I might watch it when I actually like Nicole's show. I might watch it when Nicole's show comes on. But they were saying this morning that he was sent in for that mental health evaluation. You know what? I just have an unbelievably compelling suggestion that maybe, just maybe, if you're in the military and they start having doubts about your mental health, maybe at some point, like, you know, the minute they're sending you in for a mental health evaluation, that should trigger you not being able to buy guns. I think maybe it should be where you can't even own one, so they have to confiscate the ones you have. But at the very least, I don't care how small the person's dick is, maybe at the very least, they shouldn't be able to buy any more. But when they were talking about taking away ones that might be suicidal, because here's the thing, that guy apparently left what it sounds like they're speculating, but from what they're getting from the cops, it sounds like he may have left a suicide note for his kid. And he and maybe, just maybe, if assisted suicide was legal in this country, just maybe. Ah, you little bastard. Maybe, just maybe, if assisted suicide was legal in this country, he wouldn't have gone on a rampage. You know, maybe. And again, this guy, I'm not so sure, because some of the other stuff that they're saying now, if it's true, you know, if the media isn't taking their reporting from Hamas on this guy, you know, maybe it's true. But, you know, there's people out there, like, you know, if you want a suicide by cop, maybe the reason you're suiciding by cop is because there aren't any good realistic options for you. You know, just maybe we should push for legalized assistance, because I kind of reached out on Threads to the show, to Joy Reid, you know, the Reid Report, and I tagged the senator, and if I got the right one, and I'm not entirely sure that I did, but if I got the right one, if you're gonna take away the right to own guns by, you know, what you suspect are suicidal military people, I go, you need to legalize assisted suicide. Because I told him, I go, it isn't just a veterans thing, but I go, we do not pay people enough in this country. I go, we don't. And I go, Democrats can't do anything about it, and I go, by and large, and I go, Republicans won't do anything about it. And so I go, you're not going to pay people a living wage. And I go, if the government isn't going to pay people a living wage, I go, then the other thing they should be doing is they should be supplementing that so a person can live. They should be taxing the rich enough to pay these people a living wage. so they can afford their own place. They don't have to roommate, with a. I mean, if they want to roommate with someone, great. But I go, they should be able to afford their own place. I'm kind of paraphrasing here because they got a character limit on Threads. It's better than Twitter, but they still got a character limit on there. And but the
no, I will not do that.
And they just don't. They don't pay people enough. And I go, healthcare and mental health care, I go, are a joke in this country. I go, for reasons passing understanding, I go, we are not given the same health care we give to Congress. And, my feeling on this is if our tax dollars, if our country can afford to give, let's be honest, with this Congress we got in here, they don't fucking earn it. They absolutely do not fucking earn it. Some of them maybe do, but with this Republican Congress, there's people in Congress that do not earn the fucking health care they get. They don't. When you look at, if we gave health care to people that earned it in Congress, a few of the people in the Republican Party and some of the Democrats would likely earn Medicare, or not Medicare, Medicaid. You take people like Nancy Pelosi and others, yes, they would probably deserve what they're getting, or pretty close to it. They really would.
I am returning to town.
And but not all of them. Not even all of the Democrats would deserve it. You take like Manchin and Sinema. They I think would be paying for their own. I mean, she might have earned it when she was in the House. When she was in the lower forms of government. But ever since she got into the Senate, I think her and Manchin, they wouldn't even deserve health care they paid for. They'd have to pay for it with a penalty because of the harm they're doing to our country. I firmly believe that. And we should be getting. You take a look at Mitch McConnell. And I liked Feinstein. I really do. I don't think she was a useless piece of shit her whole career like Mitch McConnell. But Feinstein, the last probably 3, 4, 5 years she was in there, she's basically, it's a no work job. But again, I'm not mad because we had Strom Thurmond for like 10, 20 years. Where he was like a vegetable in a wheelchair, and he'd come in and he'd either give a thumbs up or a thumbs down. The only time you saw any life in him is when he was trying to grab some girl's ass that was near his fucking wheelchair. And if those people are getting that health care, every American should get it. But I go, this is the stuff we have, and I go, and the homeless issue. I go, a lot of these veterans, I go, they're homeless because I go, they can't make enough to live on. They can't make enough to feed their family. Usually their families leave them because the health care and the mental health care isn't there. And I go, they're fucking homeless. And I go, and you guys can't do anything to fix it. I go, we've been waiting like 20 fucking years since Bill Clinton left office. 23 years now. You guys clearly can't do anything about it. So, if you're going to take those guns away, at least give them a humane option with assisted suicide. I'm being serious on this. Don't start talking about taking them. I go, if they're a harm to others, by all means, anybody should be under that cape. But if you're honestly worried about people killing themselves because they have guns, well, then you need to address and this is one of the things before I got sick. I'm pretty sure I was drugged or poisoned when I was working at gym. That was one of the things they drilled into us when we were team leaders there for our problem solving. You need to focus on the root cause, not the symptoms. And this is one of them. If you've got people that are killing themselves because of a gun, and this is a rare exception, but I don't think the gun is the issue. That's a symptom. You know, that's absolutely a symptom. The bigger problem is and I gave the root causes for it. The things we should focus on. We should focus on a living wage. We should have focused on mental and actual physical health care. We should focus on disability for people that can't work. You know, and we need to focus on the homeless issue. That's the real problems that are causing this. Because if you took care of that, you'd have to talk to an expert. I can't give you an exact percentage. And really, life is life. Whether you're saving one life or 1,000. I got a feeling, and this is a suspicion I have, that if you actually address that, you would probably wipe out a pretty good chunk of the actual suicides in this country if you actually address the real fucking things causing it. But it gets me. It's like, oh my god, gun. Yeah, guns are an issue. They're a real issue, and I'm not saying we don't, but it's like, if you're honestly taking about guns away from people because they're suicidal, well then stop focusing on the guns and focus on what's causing the suicide. Seriously. I'm not suicidal, but I got health care issues. I watched my mom die in hospice. I see the homeless epidemic and the results of it. I would like some better option. This way I don't have to commit suicide. I can get help with it. And here's the big thing, it wouldn't invalidate if it's legal, if they legalize it, it would not invalidate your health care or your life insurance. And then there would be money, I could count on that to be there to bury me and whatnot. But I'll be honest with you, I'm starting to pray for the fucking asteroid. I really am. You watch the UFO stuff, again, I'm not going to say it's a slam dunk. I really don't know. But some of these people that are looking at the stuff that mainstream does not want to acknowledge, and it looks like there's at least a possibility. There is some evidence to suggest it, that there is this kind of, I don't know if you want to call it a rebirth cycle or whatever. Like, there's some of the evidence that suggests that we may have come here from Mars.
That would not be wise.
And and they even talk about it, and it isn't just the Bible. It's other old texts. But they talk about, people that visit here, people that may have put us here. Every now and then they just basically send a plague or a flood to wipe us out and start over. I'm starting to think that it might be the best thing for them to do. I seriously got to be honest with you. When I look at what happened to me when I was working at GM, and when I look at what some of my own family members are doing, I gotta be honest with you. Whether it's in my lifetime or not, I'm starting to hope that maybe somebody will just flush us and start over. I mean that sincerely. You take a look at, what's going on with Russia. You take a look at what's going on, in and out of Israel. I mean, I firmly believe that Netanyahu needs to be tried for war crime. Now, maybe he'll beat it. I don't know. I think they've got kind of a unique situation because, Netanyahu, unlike Trump, didn't send military in to commit war crimes like Bush did, the Bush administration did in Iraq and Afghanistan. And he didn't do what Trump did, where you had people that were clearly guilty of war crimes who had been punished. We did not need to send these guys to The Hague. We actually punished them, and Trump pardoned them. You know, there are people in the Trump administration, there are people in the Bush administration, up to and including the president, that should probably be sent to The Hague and tried for war crimes. You know, they absolutely should. See, the problem you got is the minute you do that, then you'll have these shitbags on the right that, you know, the next time a Democratic president gets a blowjob from the mail clerk, they'll want to send him in. Oh my God, he got a blowjob, war crimes, send him to The Hague. Because that's what they're doing. They've tried to invent all this bullshit on Biden, on Obama, you know, and on Hillary. And she hadn't even been in office. She was just running, but they tried to invent all this shit. And they just did it now. You know, they got these guys coming in on Biden's kid, and I'm not kidding you. I don't know how they can't charge these fuckers for perjury and put them in jail. These are former IRS or current or former IRS people. Some of them were former FBI. Some of them were on suspension. Some of them had already been let go because they weren't following various policies, you know, basically to ensure that the FBI is above board. And these people were just breaking, and maybe not breaking rules, but they were breaking policies. They were not following the chain of evidence. There's a whole list of shit that these guys did. Well, they finally got let go. Well, and then next thing you know, oh my God, Hunter Biden, look what they did to me. No, you did this to yourself. You were a fucking disloyal, dishonest, corrupt piece of shit. And unlike Republicans, the Democrats fucking took care of you. You know, the institution took care of you. Because, you know, yes, there are bad people at the FBI, and there's probably a whole bunch more at the FBI and the DOJ that should be purged for their disloyal and treasonous acts. But, you know, we don't have a real attorney general right now, so that's never going to fucking happen. And, but, you know, Trump, Bush, that guy that wrote the torture memo, he should definitely be sent to The Hague. He should have very least, I mean, if Bill Clinton got disbarred for a blowjob, that guy should have got, and he hasn't. I think last I knew he was on Fox News. You know, if Bill Clinton got disbarred for having a blowjob, this guy should get disbarred for basically promoting war crimes, making a memo where it's legal. You know, hey, war crimes. It's the new black. And I don't know. I just don't know. And yeah, that little bastard's following me. Well, maybe he wasn't following me. Maybe there's just multiple ones in here. Okay. Well, like Netanyahu, when you look at him, this is a guy whose country is under siege. And I mean, they were attacked, and I think this happened back in the 60s. They were attacked. And really, and everybody, oh, well, the world did this, the world did that. They're acting like giving the Jewish people their land back was somehow a bad thing. And I know there's people that are going to be upset about this. If you're on the far left, seriously, you know, just please be quiet for a minute and listen. Everything I'm telling you is factually and morally correct. And if you got a problem with that, you don't have a problem with me. You have basically a problem with, you know, facts and reality. The argument that the Palestinian land was stolen from the Jews, or stolen from the Palestinians and given to the Jews, is only true. We in my country, we have groups that want the Indian land to be given back, and it's never going to happen. It's not. And to be honest, and I'm really not trying to be mean here. I'm just trying to keep it real. I'm just trying to be honest here. If the Indians had kept their land, if we had never come, or if we had never, basically, and we did some horrible shit, and we need to tell the truth about that. But if we had never done that, what we did to the Indians would have been not nearly as bad as what the Germans would have done to them during World War II. Basically, if the Germans had conquered America, because we weren't here, and anybody that the World War II seemed unwinnable. And again, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to keep it real. World War II largely seemed unwinnable until we joined it. That's just the way it is. Whether you like it or not, until we entered World War II, it really looked like Germany and Japan were going to win. World War I, we weren't that big of a deal. We were not considered a world power at the start of World War II. By the end of World War II, yes, we were. We were considered one of the undisputable world powers. And, I think it was FDR. He said we were going to make X amount of airplanes. And he was wrong. We made I think 10 times that. We made a fleet of airplanes that blocked out the fucking sun for Japan and for Germany. It's the way it is. I mean, like it or not, we've done horrible. But if you're gonna expect us to point out the horrible stuff we did, you got to point out the other stuff that we did too. Can't just, like the right, people on the left can't be this one-sided, oh, well, all the bad stuff is true, but the good stuff is negotiable. No, it isn't.
My training has paid off.
Okay.
I need to go back.
But there are these people that think, and again, so you got the Indian one. That's true. We took this land from the Indians. I don't know the whole story on Hawaii, but there's some things I've heard that kind of something similar happened to the Hawaii government. And that one there, you could maybe make an argument that, yeah, maybe we should give that back, and keep them like Puerto Rico, where they pretty much run their own shit. But it's I don't know. To me, they became a state, so it sounds like it's voluntary. But there's some things I've heard, and I just don't know enough about it to have an honest discussion about it. But you take a look at these groups that want us to give land back to Mexico. I am not sure. Again, it's never going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Right or wrong doesn't have a thing to do. It's just never going to happen. It's not. And at least not in our lifetime. So you go freeze yourself in a time capsule and come out in a million years, and we probably won't be here, but then maybe you'll get us to give the land back to fucking Mexico. After we've gone and colonized Mars or something. It's oh, you can have it now. I will say this, though. If the Republicans ever do secede again, I think in the first couple days, Texas would fall to Mexico. I firmly believe that. I think the drug cartels would take it over. And some of the other southern states, maybe even Southern California, but California has their own Air Force and they have their own Navy, and I think they could basically put a hurt on the Mexican drug cartels, at least until we got in there to back them up. Not to mention they got the military bases there, but I think just California itself, because they've even got their own version of the FBI, the CPB or CBI or something like that, California Brewery. And you got to understand their state has, like, if it was a country unto itself, like if California was the sovereign country of California, they'd have the sixth largest economy. It would be us. I think us, UK, France. I can't remember the other one, but there's 4 states besides us that would actually have a higher economy than California, if they were a separate country. So I think they might take some damage. They definitely would, but I don't think they would and don't give me this shit about Texas, because these fuckers couldn't even handle one case of Ebola. They fucked that up when they had that one case of Ebola. They fucked that all up. And they can't even keep the fucking electricity on in the height of summer and the depths of winter. So don't give me, oh, you better not mess with. No, those days are gone. Those days of better not mess with Texas are gone, because they're fucking incompetent. The leadership. I'm not trying to badmouth the people, but the people they elect are fucking morons. I'm sorry. It's if they secede from the union, about 4 days later, the head of the largest drug cartel is going to be fucking teabagging Abbott or whoever fucking the Republican governor is, like on the 4th day. They're going to fucking flip his wheelchair over. They're going to drop their nuts out of their pants, and they're just going to teabag the fucking guy until he chokes on them. And I don't know. But like, you take Netanyahu, this is a guy that they were attacked, I think, back in the 60s. They were attacked. They didn't pull a Russia where they're like, oh, well, we're going to go over and seize this. We're going to over and just seize this shit from those Arab fuckers. No, they were attacked, I think, by like 6 countries. And pretty much all the Arab states that surrounded them. Because then, like now, there were people who didn't think Israel deserved to exist. They were a lot like Hitler. They would be fine if the Jews were killed. And, there's some of these Christians in our country, that's the only reason they support the Jews, because according to the Bible, according to Jesus, and I don't even think it's Jesus, but according to the Bible, the Jews have to be there to die when God comes back. And I'm not making that up. There are people out there, hopefully not a voting majority, but with this group of Republicans again, I don't even know anymore. But
that is impossible.
oh my god, one of the cats just dropped ass in there. I gotta go sprinkle some stuff on the litter box. Oh my god, that had to be trouble. Hers have gotten a little bad now. I don't know how much longer we got with her. I'm really considering every day a gift. I really am. At this point now, I just definitely hope she makes it until spring, because I'm not sure I could do it now anyways with my ankle. But if she dies, I want to bury her here like the other pets that they've had. There was one of them they couldn't do because I think he died when I wasn't here, and it was the middle of winter anyways. So it was the last dog I think they had. All the ones before him were buried here. Even the one that even the ones that they didn't start out with, they all got buried here on the property. And I'd like her to It's kind of sacred ground for our pets, and I'd like her to be buried here. And like right now, I don't think I could do it anyways, but I don't know which way I gotta go. I'm gonna go this way. Hang on a sec. I'm gonna. Cat wants out on the porch, and I really that litter box stinks. So I gotta do something to it. Oh, hang on. She came back. She was by the door and then she left the room, so I'm gonna let her out on the porch. Be a good girl out there, okay? I didn't fall. Thanks for being patient with me. Okay, can't go that way, so it's gotta be this way then. But they were attacked. And they, basically they went in to exterminate them. This was not, this wasn't even a Ukraine. Well, we're just going to go take back, our country. And, you take what Saddam, or you take what Putin's doing now. It's a lot like Saddam Hussein. He wanted to go back to the Ottoman Empire, hey, Kuwait will be returned to the cradle or some shit like that. And that's what Ukraine's doing, or that's what Putin's doing. Like, oh, well, this used to be part of... No, it used to be part of the Soviet Union. Soviet Union's gone, bitch. It's gone. It was corrupt. Communism didn't work. It just didn't. Your shit didn't work. It still doesn't work. You're basically a third world country with oil and nukes. On some level, the Arab states are more advanced than you in your country. And you're not even a superpower anymore. Ukraine's kicking your ass. You went in there and thought you were going to basically, take it over in 3 days. And, you know, because everybody thought you were the second greatest military in the world. Turns out you're the second greatest one in Ukraine. If it was a fair fight, if you were fighting somebody with our power, they'd be fucking kicking your dick in the fucking dirt on a constant basis. You know, they really would. They'd just be fucking tearing you up. Now, granted, there'd be casualties on both sides, but the Ukraine war, we haven't had an ally like this fighting, you know, basically fighting since World War II. You go back and look at the Canadians or the Australians or that, you know, even the French, the Polish. This is what they were like back in World War II. And it's fucking epic. You know, if like Afghanistan, Iraq had been half as courageous as, I mean, just half, not even all the way, just half as courageous as Ukraine has been, the world would be a much better place right now. They just absolutely would. But they did. They were attacked. Israel was. And they kicked their ass. I mean, I think we helped them kind of like a lot like we were helping Ukraine right now. They kicked their ass, and they won in 6 days. Well, what they did is they kept the land. They're like, well, fuck it, you guys attacked us. You know, they didn't go seize it. They didn't go seize land like Saddam did or that fucking bitch Putin. They waited till they were attacked, and I think we're gonna see history. If it doesn't repeat itself, it's gonna fucking rhyme.
I need more hatred to do that.
Yeah, absolutely would. You know, they took that land, and then over the years, they gave that land back. And when you look at these claims, and there are people on the left that there's even, I don't know what you want to call them, but it's the akin, it's basically the akin of, you know, Clarence Thomas supporting, you know, the white misogyny over, you know, justice for black people. But there's Jews that are coming out like, you know, just like you had Democrats, for Reagan Democrats, you've got Jews for Palestine. And all I can say is, if those people have ever lived in Israel, and I don't think any of them have, I got a feeling most of them probably haven't even visited. But if those people have ever been there, whether living or visiting, when there was an attack, and they had to live in fear, and they are still supporting Hamas and the Palestinians, I think they need to be locked up for mental health observation. I think they call it the Stockholm effect or whatever, where, you know, terrorized people start sympathizing with their terrorists or whatever. But there were Jewish groups that came out and supported Hamas. This would be like Americans that came out supporting Saudi Arabia after 9/11 or Bin Laden. And don't give me this shit. You know, it is a little different hatred. Because there's some similarities in the fact that the Palestinians are much like Saudi Arabia after 9/11 because they supported these people. They follow them. They listen to them. You know, after 9/11, Saudi Arabia, I think, was doing Jerry Lewis-style telethons to help the families of the terrorists. I might be wrong on that, but I think they did that.
I need more hatred to do that. Yeah, I might be ending the stream pretty soon. It's starting to get a little hairy here.
I might have to start over on Act 1 at the, because I don't think I'm at the, I might be wrong, I might still be at the easiest setting.
No, I will not do that.
But they did. They took that land, and then afterwards they gave the land back under the agreement of peace. Because you go back to the 60s, pretty much every Arab country wanted the Jews dead. Just wanted them dead. Because because of Allah or whatever the fuck he's got, where he's pissed off at them. And there was a comedian. You gotta understand, like we need to grow up. We really. I'm not kidding you. And granted, I think they're doing a lot more than they actually have to. But our leadership should publicly tell the world, look, if you're in Iran, if you're in Lebanon, basically these countries that are supporting groups that want to kill Israel, they should just be telling the world publicly, like, if you are not there, you need to get out of those countries. And they should tell them, like, we have told Iran and others not to escalate this, to stay the fuck out of it. Do not support Hamas. And they're not listening. And they should tell them, on the off chance that they don't follow our good warning and advice, and we have to pretty much fucking wipe out every military structure, every power plant, and everything else in those countries with our missiles, we don't want you to be there. They should literally tell them that. And, just get out now. It might, I doubt it, but it might wake these fucking people up and go, oh, maybe they're not fucking around this time. Maybe we should stop. Ooh. Yeah, I can't give up that life for a second.
You should take a look.
And the other thing that they should be, and again, I think it should be an automatic, these people that think Israel should give that back because the Palestinians owned it. I want to finish this thought. I got sidetracked there. The people that want to, Israel should have to give that land back because Palestinians used to own it. I don't know if it's 100% the case, but it's the case in a lot of it. This land that Mexico, and I don't even think it's the Mexican government, it's Mexicans living in our country. They think, well, we should just give that land back, blah, 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 because we used to own it. I think you can only say Mexico used to own it if you don't go back to when the Indians owned it. Before Spain sent a conquering horde over there. And so I literally have no sympathy for those because my understanding is that was not Mexican or Spanish until after they took it from the indigenous people. And some of those groups don't exist anymore, like the Mayans and the Incas. But this idea that they owned it, no, they stole it. They stole it, and some of it we bought, some of it we conquered in the military, but they were never the rightful owners of it. And at least, I don't think in any case, but at least in some of the case. But again, it's never going to fucking happen. So, I don't want to get into the right, the wrong, the morality, the legality of it. It's never going to be given back. It's not. To me, them crying about that would be not much, if not the same, at least not much better than Russia demanding Alaska back because they didn't know there was a pyramid under the ice or there was oil there, or they would have never sold it. It's a done deal. You're not getting it back. That's as stupid. I mean, those guys doing that, it's as stupid as when Trump was trying to say that I can't remember what country it was. They should just sell it to us. And the prime minister of the country, like, no, we're not selling it to you. Oh, come on, you should just do it. And I mean, he got into this whole insane 3-year-old diatribe about it. And he's like Matt Gaetz. This is a rich kid. This is a spoiled rich kid that's never been told no. And this is why he's acting the way he is with the judges. It's the reason why Matt Gaetz act like he does in Congress. I don't know. I don't know. But they, if they are attacked, I don't care if it's Iran. I don't care if it's Iran or Hezbollah. Like, if Lebanon sends Hezbollah in there, I don't think you can divorce them from it. Just like I don't think you can completely divorce the Palestinians away from Hamas. Hamas was the elected government in that country. Now, if the Palestinians suddenly start coming forward going, yeah, Hamas is there and there and there, so that you can have like what happened in France at the end of Vichy France at the end of World War II, where the authorities can come in, round them up, and fucking execute them after a fair trial. Then you could maybe divorce them from it. But they couldn't do this in World War II. There were a lot of these people that wanted to be divorced from the Nazis as soon as they lost. And you look at some of this shit. You look at what Hamas and the Palestinians are doing, and you look at the Republican Party. There's a lot of similarities there. That there was a show on HBO where they called the right wing in this country the American Taliban. There is so many similarities between Hamas and the GOP. Hamas, one of those terrorist groups in there blew up a fucking hospital. It was their missiles. And you can blame the media. You can actually, paint the media in here a little bit too. Although I gotta say, I think they're doing a better job now than they did during the Iraq War. But you go back and look at the Iraq War, the fucking right wing of this country lied, and the press ran with it and reported it. Hamas came out, Israel blew up a hospital and killed 500 people. And you go back and look at the Bush War in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's the same thing. Like when you look at, and I'm not going to get into it now because it's been like, fucking 20 years ago now. But you take a look at Hamas, they go, Israel blew up that hospital and killed 500 people. Well, that's, I guess, entirely true, except for, as long as you take in mind that Israel didn't bomb it, and it wasn't 500 people that got killed. Pretty much everything they said was a fucking lie, and the Republicans used to do that during the Iran and Afghanistan wars after 9/11. And you look at they're doing it now. A Republican voted to out the speaker. The speaker had lied nonstop to Democrats, to the president. He sat there and I'm just gonna wrap this up because with the troubles I had there, I just don't want to lose my character taking on Belial, and I think next time I'll just go back and start at Act 1 again because I don't think I can take these guys. I really don't. Maybe I'll just go around, attack other shit and raise up my levels. Maybe I'll do maybe I'll even do a rift. But it was a Republican that voted out the speaker, and he had been constantly lying, like he made a deal with the president. And again, at the minute he makes that deal, his word should be his bond, unless something comes up. And the fact that he's got a terrorist faction in his caucus, that's not good enough. It just isn't. But he did. He's like, oh my God. And it was one of the few times Matt Gaetz told the truth. He's like, hey, You know, we can't blame this on the Senate. We can't blame this. And there should be audio of this. Look around. But he goes, we can't blame this on the president. We can't blame this on the Democrats. We can't blame this on the Senate. This is McCarthy's fault. Well, it was his fault, and it was the only thing McCarthy really did was in fucking making deals with fucking terrorists. You know, that was his problem. He promised them things, you know, and this was a thing, and it was not a new thing to McCarthy. This was something Paul Ryan, that fucking piece of shit, you know, he basically said something really true after he left office. I don't think he was still in office, but when he left, I think it was when he left, I don't think it was before, he was basically talking about the insane terrorist cult in his caucus. And he said, look, I don't know, he goes, you shouldn't have to explain this to people. He goes, you know, you're not going to repeal something that's been nicknamed Obamacare when Obama is the president. He goes, there's just no way. But they were mad at him. You know, what's that old thing? You know, a sign of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Back then, the Republicans, I think in 1 year, they had like 80 or 100 votes on repealing Obamacare. And he was sitting there just like, man, you shouldn't have to explain this to adults. You're not going to repeal Obamacare when the name of the president is Obama. It is not going to happen. You know, but again, and then I think Boehner, he was another one. When he waits until he leaves office. These people could have stood up. You know, because I don't know about Ryan, but I know Boehner, he left early. You know, this is a guy that could have spent the rest of his time in office fighting against this, but he didn't have a backbone. He didn't care about his country. He was a fucking gutless piece of shit. You know, you take Adam Kinzinger, I really think that guy should have ran again. I don't care that he's in there or he's not, but I will give him this. He stayed until the end of his term. He decided not to put his family through that, and I think on some level I can respect that decision. But he didn't cut and run like Boehner. I can't remember if Ryan did or not. I honestly can't. But he didn't cut and run like Boehner. He stayed till the bitter end. He stayed there because he loved his country. He wasn't a coward, you know. Choosing not to fight another round is not cowardice. But you know what Boehner did, he cut and ran. This is a thing the guy could have done from the speaker's chair. This is a guy who could have done, you know, planning on sticking out for the rest of the term, maybe even deciding to run again. And they just, you know, he fucking gave up. But when he was leaving, he did this thing, and well, first of all, he said, he goes, do you got people in your caucus that are just out of touch with reality? And this was not something I guess he was expecting, because he got visibly upset. He goes, you goddamn right I do. He goes, you got these people out there that are lying to people. He goes, you got people in Congress, and I think it was one of it's basically the lobbying groups. It's some of these right-wing nut jobs, the religious nuts or the constitutional nuts. You know, basically a lot of the people that were pushing for the overturning the election, the Eastmans, the Bannons, and the Roger Stones, people like them, maybe not them, but like them. And he said, you got people down there that are telling people stuff that is never gonna happen. He goes, and then they're on our ass. He goes, we got voters on our ass because they've been lied to by people in Congress, you know, people they elected, and people, you know, in the lobbying firm. They're telling them stuff. Oh well, we're gonna repeal Obamacare. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. He goes, we're going to do things around gay marriage. And it was all these things. And he goes, these things are never going to happen. You know, and I think he was saying, you know, things about abortion. Well, they're finding out what's happening. They finally passed. This is why the leadership, you know, Ryan, Boehner, and the problem is a lot of these Republicans, what they did was they told these people lies. You know, like, I won't come in your mouth, the check's in the mail. You know, these kind of lies. So they can get what they wanted. You know, they tell this woman, look, I promise if you suck it, I won't come in your mouth. And or, you know, hey, you know, yeah, just fuck me for a while. We'll get married. You know, they lie to him. Bill Clinton did it too, but he didn't do it to anybody that was in office. He just did it to a bunch of home-wrecking hussies, you know. And and they knew he was married. They didn't have to be fucking stupid. And again, I mean this with all due respect, but like, most of these women did not have a problem with Bill Clinton. They were okay fucking him. They were okay, you know. And Monica Lewinsky was the only one who really wasn't bitter about it. She was okay giving him the blowjobs under the desk and all that stuff. Well, then, when he didn't live up to their fantasy expectations, and honest to God, I don't know. I literally don't know if he lied to him. I'm not even sure he lied to him. You know, I'm not sure he ever, because none of that ever came out where, you know, oh, he said he was going to leave his wife. None of that came out. There was, oh, he sexually harassed me and blah, blah, blah. And the thing that you need to understand is after Hillary lost the election, I think it was that Jennifer Flowers. She was someone that was supposedly a friend of Hillary's. And she came forward and did an interview where she basically said that I think she had gotten a pregnancy test done, and she was talking about how Bill Clinton offered to help her with an abortion. And I don't know if she had a DNA, because DNA testing wasn't that big back, like when she would have got knocked up. But she went to him, you know, with a pregnancy test. She was pregnant. And she goes, and she just, because it sounded like, if I'm remembering it right, and there's a big if there, she went to him and she's like, oh, I'm pregnant. And she kind of left it like an open question. You know, she didn't go in, oh, well, you have to marry me. She didn't go in making demands. She just basically went in, well, I'm pregnant. And I guess without missing a beat, he didn't even have to think about it too long. He let her know that he would be more than happy to help her get an abortion, help her get there, take care of her before and during it, you know, help her out. And the interview, they go, well, what did you expect? And she told the interview that she kind of hoped that he said he would marry me. He'd leave his wife and marry me. And, you know, none of that came out during the trials. And I got a feeling that all of them were the same way. All of them, you know, you know, and again, even if he lied to you, that makes him a bad person. Doesn't make him a bad president. But even if he lied to them, you know, this was not a guy at a bar, you know, telling them, yeah, my name's Fred, I'm a single guy, and then you go home, you fuck him, and you find out his name is, you know, John, and he's married, and he's got 8 kids, 4 with his wife, and 4 with, you know, fucking people like you. And you know, that's a different level of fucking scumbag right there. It really is. I mean that sincerely. But they knew he was the governor. Hell, Jennifer Flowers was friends with his wife. I'm sorry, that to me comes as a higher level of fucking scumbaggery than Bill Clinton. You know, you're friends with his wife. You're not friends with him. You're not friends with a couple. You're his wife's hairstylist and a friend. And you're gonna go fuck his husband? I'm sorry, you're more of a sleazy bitch than Bill Clinton is for that. I'm being sincere here. And but I got a feeling all of them, You know, but here's the thing. Even if he told him he was going to leave his wife, well, then all you got to do is tell him, well, fine, we can have sex after you leave your wife. We can go out after you leave your wife. You know, for the women in America, wake the fuck up a little bit, you know. If he's going to sit there and tell you that he will, then tell him, fine, when you leave your wife and we get married, I will. You know, because if not, you're gambling.
No,
I'm
I
not
will
saying,
not
hey,
do
if you
that.
want to fuck them, fuck them. You know, that's a free world. You guys are consenting adults. But this idea that, you know, you basically, even if he lied to you, even if he said, hey, you know, hey, just fuck me for a little bit and I'll leave my wife, you know, it's kind of on you more than him that you were dumb enough to do that. You know, what was it in Animal Mouse? Hey, you fucked up. You trusted us. You know, I mean, I don't know. But like with Israel, I think we're gonna see a repeat of history. I honestly do. It sounds like they might get attacked. And I'm not kidding you, when and if the attack happens, they should do just what they did in the Sixth War. They should take a whole shitload of Arab land. If Lebanon is going to support Hezbollah and Hezbollah attacks, fucking take Lebanon's land. Fucking move in, secure it. Just like they did after the 6-Day War. And America should have their back. If this is what really happens, America should fucking have their back. It absolutely should.
That is impossible.
And then when it's over, they should take some of that land that they took and give it to the Palestinians and tell them to get the fuck out. And I'm not kidding you. The American government, if they don't want to, like right now, I would say that enough is enough. And Israel should be completely within their rights to go get out. You do not have a country that anybody recognizes. You don't exist as a country. You've been guests in our country, and we're done with this shit. We're done with having our restaurants blown up every couple weeks. We're done with our women being raped. We're done with our kids being murdered. You know, we're done with the terror attacks. We're done with the war crimes. We're kicking you the fuck out. This was something, if you ever read this book called Steal My Soldier's Heart, steal like as in the metal, not like theft. And the colonel that wrote it was talking about his time in Vietnam. And one of the things he did was, like when he took over a military base, he took over, I want to say it's a regiment. He had 4 companies under his command. I think it was a regiment. And I'm not a military person, and I'm not going to apologize for that. Nothing, you know, and hey, the people that do, good for you. You know, I really do, but I didn't, and I don't feel I deserve to be any less of an American citizen because I didn't serve. Just like I don't think people that served are any more of us. They still get one vote. They don't magically put their pants on. They still have to put their pants on one leg at a time. They don't own the flag or patriotism. They just don't. You know, I think they deserve credit. You can maybe look at them, you know, as a hero, but they're not some kind of a super citizen like a Heinlein novel, Starship Troopers, where you are that was that. And then this is really popular with the military, but the guy that wrote Starship Troopers, that was the whole agenda. Now, if you treat it as a movie, if you treat it as entertainment, it's great. But if you're treating it as a cult rallying cry for why American military are somehow a super citizen, yeah, that's bad for our country. That really is.
I need to go
And
back.
but he took over this military base, and then this is the "Steal My Soldier's Heart," and then under the extension of the title is whatever his regiment was, from hopeless to hardcore. When he took over that group, they had the worst military rating in the military. Like if you're gonna rate the military, they weren't near the bottom. They were the bottom one. They were all the way. And when he left, they had the highest combat rating for killed versus wounded, efficiency, everything. When he left them, and they were the best. Well, when he got there, the fucking base was in the middle of a minefield. You literally could not leave that base except by helicopter. It was the only way in and out, because otherwise you were going over a heavily planted minefield. And he's like, when he got there, he's talking about, I'm not quoting him word for word, but he's like, this is fucking insane. That was the gist of it. So he basically got permission to move the base, and they set up somewhere else. Because it wasn't a medical, but it was like MASH. Those bases, they were forward operating base. They were movable. They were mobile. So he got permission to move. He got out of that minefield. And then one of the other things he did was he did not let the Vietnamese in the base. Because it was a thing. There was a local guy that was cutting hair and shaving people. He made people get shaved by this guy outside the base, because he was there the one day and he noticed what he called a sapper. The guy was pacing off the base. Like he was walking, and he was basically heel to toe, heel to toe, heel to toe, so he could count how many steps it was. I think that's what. I don't think he was like walking like every step was 3 feet. I think he was doing it heel to toe, so he could measure out, like, well, yeah, my foot's this long, my shoe is this long, and it was this many shoes. They get exact measurements for artillery. And but he noticed, and there were, he noticed a bunch of them, so he kicked everybody out. And if you wanted to go get your hair cut, and he didn't consider himself any different. When he got his hair cut and when he got a shave by that guy, he did it outside the base. This guy would set up his shop, people would go out there, get in line, and then that way, if there was an attack, it was only the people outside the base that were vulnerable. And then this way, and he said that later when they took out a nest of the enemy, that old guy that cut their hair was in with them. And he said, he goes, I could feel that guy's knife at my throat. And he goes, and he something along the lines where he was just really glad that guy didn't feel, as strong in his cause, because he goes, this guy, basically he's pointing out, this guy could have slit his throat when he was shaving him with a straight razor. But he did. He just couldn't have him in there. Well, this is where it's coming to with Israel. Regardless of what you want to say, you got the West Bank and you got Gaza. I think it's time to just kick the Palestinians out of there and set up their country again. Just fucking kick them out and go, hey, you were given this land under the promise, because that's a contract. That's a verbal contract. I don't think it was a written one. But, there was an understanding that land would be given up under the promise of peace. Well, for something like 70 years, the Arabs have failed to deliver. And that should be enough to avoid that. It really should. Kick them the fuck out. Tell them, hey, just like Moses, you can go walk around for 40 days and 40 nights until you figure your shit out, but you're done here. But if they're not willing to do that, if the American government is not willing to do that, then what they should do is they should tell them, look, regardless of any deals that come after this, Israel was promised peace when they gave up the land that they took in that 6-day war. They didn't have to. They were under no moral or legal obligation to do it, but they did. And they better be given the peace that they were promised when that happened. And tell them, if first of all, give them a deadline, and it should have been this Friday. Maybe it's next Friday, but you make it clear to the Arab countries. You guys better, I don't care if you send in a SWAT team, I don't care if you fucking bribe them, I don't care. But you need to explain it to the Palestinians as a whole that every fucking hostage, everyone they took, has to be handed over by Friday. You figure it out. And if anybody was harmed, like anybody that was raped, anybody that was attacked, anybody that was murdered, you better hand over everybody that was guilty, plus the evidence to convict them of war crimes by Friday. If you don't, all the Palestinians are going to be evicted, and I don't care if we have to throw them out of a plane with a parachute on and land them into another Arab country. They're going to be gone. They're just gonna be gone. They're not gonna be in Israel anymore. Israel's gonna take that whole country back if that doesn't happen. And tell them, hey, the next shitbag, the next fucking shitbag that fucking launches a rocket, fucking sets off a bomb, an improvised explosive, an IED. The next one that happens, the next terrorist attack, the next thing that Israel just doesn't so much like anymore, that's going to happen. So, again, we don't care if you fucking execute the terrorists. We don't care what you do. But you guys, not Israel. Israel's not responsible for this. And we don't want to hear, if you guys don't like this, then fucking leave. If the Arab countries don't like it, give them a place to stay. If Palestinians don't like it, fucking leave. Because you want to compare the Arabs to the Israelis, okay? When the Israelis lost their country all them years ago, they didn't become terrorists. They just went elsewhere, got jobs, set up shop, tried to raise their families. And for that evil act that they did of just peacefully trying to move on with their life, the Germans tried to exterminate them. They tried to wipe them off the face of the earth. The Palestinians didn't do that. They didn't move on. They didn't try to move on with their life. They didn't try to get on with it. They didn't try to raise their family. They created terrorists. They sat around and bitched and moaned that they weren't getting enough. And they had a faction of their group that they elected into office that's terrorizing people. And you just let the whole Arab community know this is the way it's going to be. You guys, done. I don't care if you got to educate them. I don't care if you got to lock them up. I don't care if you got to fucking exterminate them. This shit is over. Because if it isn't over, we're just going to give the land back to Israel, and we're going to forcibly, maybe we'll put them in boats, and those boats can land in Egypt or Iran. And you guys, they're your fucking problem. They're not Israel's problem anymore. And I think they need to do something about this, because, I mean, again, I think there are people in Israel that should be put on trial for war crimes. I think some of them will probably get away with it. I think some of them will probably be found guilty. But that's a whole separate issue. That doesn't excuse what, the Palestinians are doing. And I don't know what to say, but this is just fucking nuts. watching, like, after this is something that was made by someone from Israel. They came over to do an interview, and they said, oh my God, after 9/11, your local news was not putting up claims by the Taliban. They weren't putting up claims by Osama bin Laden. You know, Osama bin Laden was putting out more fucking rap tapes than Tupac did when he was alive. Where he's out there fucking rapping with everybody, telling them what was going on. You didn't see the Wall Street Journal, you didn't see the New York Times or MSNBC or any of these other ones grabbing those videos and go, oh my God, we have the truth. Obama bin Laden said that America is evil. They didn't do that. They treated it like terrorist propaganda. But yet you're seeing a lot of people in what I would call the real factual news, and they're every little thing Hamas fucking shits the bed about, they're fucking running with it like it's real. You know, and every fucking story that can be linked to Hamas or anybody that is supporting Hamas, like most of the Arab states, they should be like, well, this is what the terrorist nations are saying. This is what we have here now. And I'm gonna peace out. Hopefully, I'll be able to do a Minecraft stream today. I'm gonna try and watch a couple of the other YouTube videos, but that one, I don't really have. I can't install anything. I have enough trouble trying to get the things that I'm currently using on this to work because I'm running. It's out of memory. There's plenty of memory on a stick, but everything I can't get it to install things on the stick. It wants to install everything on system memory, and that's constantly full. Every time I need to update something on my tablet, I have to go and move every fucking app that I can over to the memory. And then after it updates, it's back on the main memory. I can't. And then I've noticed that there's about half of the things that I use on this, they used to be able to be put on the memory. Now they have to go on system memory. There's no longer an option to move it to the SD card. And but I don't have the ability to watch Spotify on this. I'd have to take something else I use more. But I can't do the Joe Rogan Spotify podcast, and he doesn't put them up entirely on YouTube anymore. But he did a recent one with Graham Hancock. I'm going to watch as many clips as I can about that and see if I can try to talk about that during the next Minecraft stream. But apparently they found some kind of a dinosaur boneyard in Alaska. Some guy that was drilling for oil on his property found it, and it sounds like it's pretty huge. And there's some other stuff I've seen 2 or 3 clips from it, so I'm gonna watch as many of them as I can and then try and talk about it. Peace out, and I hope it looks like it's gonna be another gloomy day. Peace out, and I hope everybody has a good day. Oh, and call to action. I forgot about this one. Write your people in D.C. House, Senate, President, and just remind them that we really need Chuck Schumer's disclosure amendment for the Defense Department passed and signed, and we need the intelligence amendment for the it's the defense authorization, the intelligence authorization. These are must-pass legislation. We need the amendment for disclosure from Christian Gillibrand and Senator Christian Gillibrand and Senator Mark Rubio. We need that passed. We need the president to sign it. It might tell us a lot about the UFO thing. I think it's definitely going to tell us a lot about billions and billions and billions of dollars, maybe even some corporate crime and others. I think it's going to tell us a lot about that. I really do. Peace out, and I hope everybody has a good day.